Chapter 6, Section 4, Part 2. When we last left off, Washington had forced the British to flee Boston by taking the cannons from Fort Ticonderoga and surrounding Boston at Dorchester Heights. Today we are going to begin with the publishing of Common Sense in the Colonies. Please make sure to have out your Google Doc through the Google Classroom, and make sure to complete the answers that go along with it as the video progresses. So in early 1776, most Americans still wanted to avoid a final break with Britain. However, the publication of a pamphlet entitled Common Sense helped convince many Americans that a complete break with Britain was necessary. Written by Thomas Paine, a recent immigrant from England, this pamphlet made a strong case for American independence. Paine ridiculed the idea that kings ruled by the will of God, calling King George III, quote, the royal brute. Paine argued that all monarchies were corrupt. He also disagreed with the economic arguments for remaining with Britain. Our corn, he said, will fetch its price in any market in Europe. In other words, anyone will buy from us because we have good products to sell. He believed that America should follow its own destiny. A voice from the past. Everything that is right or natural pleads for separation. The blood of the slain, the weeping voice of nature cries, 'tis time to part. Even the distance at which the Almighty has placed England and America is a strong and natural proof that the authority of one over the other was never the design of heaven. Thomas Paine, Common Sense. Common Sense was an instant success. Published in January, it sold more than 100,000 copies in 3 months. The call for independence had become a roar. A time of decision. The Continental Congress remained undecided. A majority of delegates still did not support independence. Even so, in May of 1776, Congress adopted a resolution authorizing each of the 13 colonies to establish its own government. On June 7th, Richard Henry Lee of Virginia introduced a key resolution. It called the colonies, quote, free and independent states, and declared that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is totally dissolved. Congress debated the resolution, but not all of the delegates were ready to vote on it. They did, however, appoint a committee to draft a Declaration of Independence. The committee included Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston, and Thomas Jefferson. The group chose Jefferson to compose the Declaration. The two reasons for selecting Jefferson were that 1, he was an excellent writer, and 2, that he came from Virginia. The members knew that no independence movement could succeed without Virginia's support. Jefferson immediately went to work. In 2 weeks, he had prepared most of the Declaration. On July 2, 1776, Congress considered Lee's resolution again. Despite some strong opposition, the measure passed. From this point forward, the colonies consider themselves independent. The Declaration is adopted. 2 days later, on July 4, 1776, Congress adopted the document that proclaimed independence, the Declaration of Independence. John Hancock, the President of the Congress, was the first to sign the Declaration. According to tradition, he wrote in large letters and commented, "There, I guess King George will be able to read that." The core idea of the Declaration is based on the philosophy of John Locke. This idea is that people have unalienable rights, or rights that government cannot take away. Jefferson stated this belief in what came to be known as the Declaration's best-known passage. Quote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thomas Jefferson, The Declaration of Independence. If a government disregards these rights, Jefferson explained, it loses its right to govern. The people then have the right to abolish that government, by force if necessary. They can form a new government that will protect their rights. When Jefferson spoke of the people, however, he meant only free white men. Women and enslaved persons were left out of the Declaration. The Declaration also explained the reasons for breaking with Britain. It then declared the colonies to be free and independent states. This was a very serious action, treason from the British point of view, and therefore punishable by death. And the delegates knew it. John Hancock urged the delegates to stand together in mutual defense. Each realized that if the war were to be lost, they would most likely be hanged. The Declaration closed with this pledge: "And for the support of this Declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." Americans had declared independence. Now they had to win their freedom on the battlefield. This is the end of Chapter 6, Section 4. At this point, you should be able to answer a few questions. 1. What challenges did George Washington face in forming the Army? 2. What forced the British to leave Boston? And finally, what is common sense? Actually, one more. Why did it take colonists so long to declare independence, keeping in mind the colonist British traditions as well as the risk of revolution? Please also make sure you have completed your Google Doc for Chapter 6, Section 4 at the conclusion of this video and submit it through the Google Classroom. Once you've done that, we'll see you in class tomorrow.